if I'm alone, how can I be concerned about others? Like, how can I show my concern or explore that if I can't be around people?
You can, well, what you say you could send them some good vibes. Because even if you're, close to people at some, what do they call it, carnival or something, where you're dancing and stuff, how close are you to them? If you're bumping elbows or something, there's a physical closeness, but you could be like millions of kilometers away from them, in your heart. And then if you're, on top of, an apartment building or something, you can actually be very close to people if you're thinking with some compassion. There's that feeling of closeness. But the mind always, gets it, oh, I'm not close. If I get an inch closer, then we're closer. Not necessarily so. And if you ever connect, and now in the age of technology, you connect all of a sudden with someone on the other side of the planet, and and you just go, and you feel like there's no distance at all.
If you tap into truth and interconnectedness, so if you, through social media and through things like Zoom, etc., become more and more superficial and more filling your time and making making excuses not to be present, then there isn't a feeling of connectedness, and it feels a little bit empty. And so the feeling of connectedness starts with this true sense of spaciousness in the core of the body, an embodied feeling of spaciousness and luminosity in the core of the heart, which is an inherent part of who we are, this feeling of real tenderness that you can touch into with a memory of someone who you love. And that feeling is incredibly powerful, and it's at the root of true connectedness to others. And so when you feel frustrated because you can't be with others, which is natural at this point in time, you can take steps through technology to connect with others, but then connect deeply rather than just have a cocktail party online because that'll be fun, which is not a bad thing, but that's not going to satisfy that feeling of what can I really do to connect and to serve others. So the connection comes when we feel that we are serving others rather than avoiding situations or zoning out ourselves or serving ourselves. The connection comes when we feel deeply that we are giving to other people. That's when we start to feel good.
The reduction of ourselves to the physical body is something that most people, that's kind of a default. I want to be close to people. And then those people who are addicted to really being close to people in terms of like squeezing them or something, often are really distant from people because they treat other people as objects. And so they're not actually that close. And so in their hearts, they've got huge distances. And that's the funny thing about the mind. And so the classic example is look inside your heart. If you're lonely, look inside, and there might be endless others.
Yeah, and if that's difficult for you, or if you're having difficulty feeling isolated and feeling that you can't connect, you could do a classic kind of visualization also of calming the mind, calming the body, as you know how to do, and then bringing up images of people you feel gratitude for, either, your parents, who may or may not have been perfect parents, but brought you into this life and gave you life, your teachers, your connections to nature, bringing in images of those things, and experimenting to see if you can actually feel the connection to them through the embodied sense of the core of your own body, just through the breath, which is really where we experience things, like Richard was saying, with feeling through the pores of our body. We really experience closeness by feeling others as interconnected parts of ourselves, and we start to disappear. So as long as we are separate, there's great food for suffering and for feelings of isolation. But as soon as we realize in this particular situation, there are millions upon millions of people who are experiencing the same feelings of isolation and what can I do for others, or frustration, or whatever, then we suddenly have an opening in our experience to really feel compassion for that state that is bubbling up all over the world these days, with the potential that more people will emerge from this pandemic with insight into others, and that might be a positive outcome. Yeah.